I didn't hear anything else about that specific request, but I did put that out there.
Well,
Yeah.
I think the bottom line on this thing is we're just jammed up. There's no good decision here. This is a lose-lose. As I see it, we're going to have to, if we do not accept it, we turned this down one time before with MDOT. And I think we took the position that the highway department should maintain the highways and bridges and ways in this state. And I consider it as a form of double taxation, the city having to pay to maintain the lights and the electricity, as well as we're also paying state taxes. But as I said, we're jammed up here. Our citizens are expecting lights on that bridge. And so we have got to do something in terms of safety for the city. Now, I hope this is in the minutes, because when it does come up, we have no idea what the power bill is gonna be. We have no idea how much the maintenance is gonna be. Sure, they'll replace them with new lights. First tropical storm, a hurricane, who's gonna replace the poles and the lights? How much does that cost? So I think we're jammed up. We're entering into a decision here that we just have to do it because the citizens want the lights there, and they are not familiar with what we're going through to make this decision. So I throw that out, that this is a bad decision that we have to make.
And we have met with the power company, and we do have somewhat of an agreement for maintenance on the lights in the center of the median. But the lights on the side have been a sticking point because they don't have a vehicle to do that.
Sure.
We would have to get MDOT's truck down to maintain those lights. So the lights in the center are pretty reasonable. They're not out of range for us to keep up, I don't feel personally anyway.
Yeah, well,
But the side lights are still very much.
Yeah, my point is we shouldn't even be involved in this. They should be maintained first class by the highway department. That's their business and their responsibility. But I hear what you're saying.
Well, I mean, I wish that was the case that we could do. It looks like the lights are just gonna go out if we don't get this
Well,
sound.
that's what they're doing. We asked, they're obviously letting them go out so that we receive the pressure. And so I think that's, like I said, they've jammed us up on this thing. And
Well,
expressing my
one thing I'd
displeasure.
like to follow up, Tim, with Nicole, is that, Nicole, if you could find out and let us know through an email, what kind of, was that just an agreement between the past mayor, verbal agreement, or was that signed, or did they come before the board? Like I said, I don't remember going for it. So I don't know if it's legal for us to do that. I mean, unless it's gotta go through this board before we can do something like that, so. You know.
We'll get a search through the minutes and figure out what happened, if
Okay.
anything related to an old agreement about the bridge and MDOT.
And just another point of interest is that, like, for example, Highway 90, how we keep the medium up in the middle of Highway 90, that's really MDOT's responsibility. That's, in other words, they're taxing the citizens to maintain that medium. Yeah, we're spending city taxes to maintain that medium, and then plus we had to light it up. So we spent $180,000 on lighting Highway 90 up. I remember that, and it was amortized on our light bill, so we really didn't feel it. It just was amortized over 20, 30 years to put the lights up. But
I think we put it off one time. I think we need to move forward with accepting this agreement and let's get this going. I'd like to see lights on that bridge again. It really looks, it's dangerous for one, but it looks bad also.
Didn't they say this should last for a few years?
Oh, yeah.
Isn't there something that maybe we don't have to have an agreement with Mississippi Power for a few years until?
Yeah, the top lights are the main thing, and they'll be replaced and, should be ready, should be good for the next few years, so.
Nicole, did you have an answer to that question I sent you on the 15-day period? Is everything,
I must not have seen it.
according to this agreement, everything we do has to be submitted to the MDOT. With 15 days of any work that we have to do, and then they have to approve it. I mean, if they're gonna turn it over to us, they ain't turn it over to us. It's 15 days, submit it, and we'll approve it, and it's garbage.
Right. I mean, I can go back and if y'all don't wanna approve it based on that, I can go back and ask, about that provision. I mean, at least the good thing about it is if they don't respond within 15 But that does, like, I think,
That's just another roadblock. I mean,
Right.
I'm not keen on taking it over anyway, but if we're
Well, I
gonna.
agree, Mike, I'd rather get that straight before we vote on it.
Well, I think we need to move forward tonight, but we need to put that amendment in there to have you get with them to amend it or approve it based on them taking that 15 days out.
I can never do that. And then
Just like Ken said, we're stuck here, we don't have a choice.
right,
Yeah, no, but-
I'm fine with that, y'all can make it contingent upon that, and then, I can come back at the next meeting if that was not agreed to by NDOT and go from there. But I can negotiate that part.
All right, so do we want to make a motion contingent on those?
Let me ask, one question. Now, you know, that requires a different type of truck to go over the side and descend down to the light. That's a pretty good drop, and Alan and them would be doing that. I know you won't, somebody will. We're gonna take somebody, but I've seen them Dodge trucks.
It takes a double knuckle bucket truck to do
Well,
that.
how much you looking at there, Alan, for something like
That
that?
truck's probably close to $500,000 or better.
But
I mean,
I
I
think
just give us a truck.
The city ain't got $500,000 just right.
You don't have to buy it.
You can rent it somewhere probably.
Or contract.
I just wanna know.
Or contract it with an electrical company.
In other words, when you're negotiating or when you're talking to the highway department, see if they, any way that they can help us out with the truck.
Okay.
I mean, that would save a lot of money.
Well, hopefully with the LEDs, it's gonna be a long time for, I'm hoping.
First
I
storm,
mean,
you know,
the
they.
ones on the 110 loop, I mean, I hadn't seen any out on that one.
You're not hurricane proof, but, you know, I'd like to see get a truck.
All right. Is there a motion?
I'll make a motion, we approve this MOU contingent on 15-day submission period being removed.
And then a truck, and request for a truck.
I think it'll be a-
We're not, they're not.
I don't know, but I mean, they may help us out and let's get state bid on it.
I can mention some kind of MOU or something, but that probably doesn't have anything to do with this particular agreement.
Yeah, we can't.
It would be
put that in.
separate, I'm sure.
All right,
You
so.
still ask.
Yeah, no, absolutely, I plan to
All
ask.
right.
All right, so Rob, your motion is to accept contingent on the 15-day
Being removed from the contract.
being removed from the contract. All right, motion by Mr. Blackman, seconded by Mr. Alderman. Any more discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
All
I
opposed?
said reluctant, aye.
Motion
Well,
carries.
I think Ron will
I
vote.
abstain, Mayor.
Abstention by Mr. Kent. All right, motion passes. Item B, discuss engineering contract extensions with BMA and Overstreet.
Mayor, I'd like to ask that we grant that extension, but only until July 31st, 2021, until after elections, and the new board may want to go a different direction, so.
Okay.
I'd like to say that, you know,
Motion, Mr.
the
Blackman.
new board can do what they want to do. I mean, we don't have to put that in a motion, you know.
I know, but I just think it's fair. I just think it's
All they
fair
got to
that
do is
the
like
board-
30 days, they could change it. I mean, that's in the contract, so I don't know why. I don't think that's necessary, what you're saying, you know. Really don't.
I just think it's fair just to let a new board either decide to extend from that point or go out for RFQs.
But like you said, they can change anything we've done
They can?
if they want to.
Yeah.
So why, like John said, why do it?
That's my motion.
I'll second.
All right, second on Mr. Hempy. Discussion?
Well, this will keep you from having to do that. It'll extend it throughout the election, and then after that, then we can move forward.
Plus, this puts the renewal on election cycles and not.
Which, that's the way it was.
It's that way automatic.
I'm good with that.
It's written in the contract already, it's just redundant what you're doing.
All right, all in favor?
Aye.
All opposed?
Hey,
Motion carries. All right, name on Mr. Gill and Mr. Bell. Okay. Item C, adopt resolution to create a school speed zone near Lighthouse Academy for dyslexia on Ward Avenue from Governor Street to Porter Avenue.
I don't think there's really much for us to talk about. We talked about it the last meeting.
Yeah.
So I make a motion that we adopt the resolution to create the school speed zone near the Lighthouse Academy for dyslexia on Warren Avenue.
All right, motion by Mr. Hoffman,
From
second.
government to court.
All right, motion by Mr. Hoffman, second by Mr. Bellman. Any further discussion?
Roll call.
Roll call on that.
All right, we'll need a roll call, Mr. Gill.
Aye.
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 All right, motion passes. All right, discuss arts and culture coordinator position update.
I guess my question is did she accept the job?
Yes.
Okay.
So we may have to take this in executive session. She did agree to go ahead and accept the position at step 2.
Well, hang on just a minute.
Wait, hang on a
If
second. The
the
motion on
offer
the table
step
is
one.
level
I understand
step
that.
one.
I understand what the motion is, but I'm telling you what she agreed to.
Well, then she just not taking
She
the
didn't
job.
correct.
Well,
Well,
again, we'll probably need to go into executive session for this, so.
But you already got
Oh, we got a motion on the table.
You got a motion on the table, you either
I
vote on
mean,
the
she either
motion.
takes it or she
You
doesn't.
can't go back then.
All right, so,
Vote on the motion, if the motion's made out here, it's gotta be voted on out here.
Well, I'll make a motion right now to go ahead and offer the coordinator position at the step 2 pay scale.
all right, motion by Mr. Cox.
Up to what pay scale?
Step
Step
2.
2.
Second by Mr. Hempy.
I think the motion
But
was,
wait, the motion was for
That
step
motion was-
1.
step one, it's
That
already been
motion
I mean,
made.
so that
voted on.
motion, yeah, but that motion was voted on for step 1, and so she has to accept that it's step 1 or deny it.
That's right.
I mean, this isn't a negotiation. I mean, we didn't talk about
That one was
negotiations.
apparently denied.
We
Then we're not giving
specifically,
step 2.
we
So
specifically
the motion
discussed
on
it
the
the other
table.
night. Y'all specifically said step 1 or you would move on.
And
That was y'all.
So that's been
Well, this is
denied,
also
so I
us.
just
You
made
can't make a motion on
to
top of another motion. The other motion gotta
That
be
motion-
voted on.
You can.
No, you
That
can't.
motion was
No, I
voted
don't-
on. We voted on
Nicole,
step
can you
1
clarify
then.
this?
That was
That was
done.
my
Right.
initial.
I just made a new motion
So,
to offer step 2, and she obviously accepted already.
Correct.
How, but we
Well,
negotiated
that's
with
not
you.
how
it works.
Nobody was
It
given,
don't come after the
nobody was
That's
given a
right.
That's a
chance
new
to
motion.
negotiate.
You gotta rescind.
Hold on.
You gotta rescind. the
Okay,
first
all right,
motion.
hold on. Nicole, can you answer this? Is this something we can talk about out here? Should we talk about it here? Can we go to executive session? What should we do here?
I'm not going into executive session.
so from my understanding, the motion was made to offer Sarah Carkish at, step 1. So that motion was made and voted upon, and she denied that offer.
Mhm.
So now technically you could have a new motion. So you could have a new motion that Mr. Cox has proposed,
Second by Mr. Hempy.
correct. But if you wanna discuss any kind of, qualifications or have any kind of discussion related to those specific details, if it's anything other than her salary, if we're going into, if we're gonna go into any kind of discussion on qualifications, then that is for executive session. However, if the motion is as simple as offering her at step 2 at a certain amount, then that is acceptable, since it's only based on
I mean,
a monetary
motion
amount.
my question is, who negotiated this? I mean, there was no task to negotiate, it was level 1.
Well,
Right.
I talked to her, me and Mindy talked to her, she didn't accept it, and she came back with this, and,
But nobody had the right to negotiate.
Yeah, nobody had the right to negotiate that.
To me, that was.
that's what she said she would take, so.
Well, if she denied our motion and denied the salary and denied the job, shouldn't we go out to interview more people?
You're welcome to do that.
Well,
I got a motion on the table, and it was seconded.
Well, I think I'll say this for the record, I think it was wrong. If there were telephone calls made to make a decision to negotiate somebody's salary after the board said that it was a start up at level 1, I'm totally against that. I mean, we have ladies and gentlemen in this building that work and all around the city, and looking at the applications, and I'm not gonna get into experience, but I just don't think it's fair to negotiate a higher salary with an entry-level position.
I have no knowledge of anybody making those negotiations other than the mayor. making
Oh,
a
Well, he
phone
couldn't have
call
done it on his
and
own
all that.
because
And I wouldn't characterize this as entry level either, but, you know, that's.
I think she was told there was no
Not interested.
negotiation. I think when she was spoke to, was that not correct?
That's correct.
The HR director sit on it. She was told no negotiation. What that means is no negotiation.
Well, it was,
All right,
yeah. I don't think that's right.
all right, all in favor?
Obviously.
All opposed?
Nay.
Okay, we need a count.
All right, we'll need to count,
Three officers.
just to make sure. Mr. Gill,
Oh,
what do you roll call?
nay.
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 Aye.
Aye.
All right, motion passes.
Well, this is a good show for our community to show that we handpick or hand select people for jobs.
All right, discuss MOU with the Art
No,
Association.
Yes, it is.
No, Mr. Mayor, there's
Yes,
no,
it is, Mike.
nobody's handpicked for this. We stood up here, we interviewed, I did.
We can't get into qualifications here, but I'm gonna tell you that we just gave more money to somebody that had less qualifications than the other two applications we had.
I disagree with that.
Let me finish this, because I'm leaving.
All right. New business, discuss MOU with the Art Association for use of the community center. Megan, you've been working on this?
Yeah, it's just, every year the community center gets booked by the Art Association to do their art show. They use the last 2 weeks of October and usually the first week of November. So I just wanted to, I worked with Nicole to get it to where they have first right of refusal. That way they can continue to get that date.
Okay. Does anybody have any questions on this? Megan's been doing her homework on it and should be all good, good to go.
I don't have any questions.
Is there a motion to accept?
Make a motion to accept the MOU with the Art Association for the community center.
All right, motion by Mr. Cox, seconded by, who's that, Mr. Gill?
I did it.
Second, Mr. Gill, any discussion?
You looked at all this?
Yeah.
Anybody here thinks good?
Yeah, I drafted it.
All right. That's-
All in favor?
Aye.
All opposed? Motion carries. All right, item B, adopt resolution requesting the legislature enact legislation designating the Old Fort Bayou Bridge in Jackson County as the Mark M. Seymour Senior Memorial Bridge.
Rundown on that, Mayor.
Do what?
Give us a rundown on that if you would.
Well, actually, you wanna, you
Yeah,
got
I-
involved with it a little more than me.
Well, from what I understand, and I guess it's, John Gill actually probably knows a lot more about it than I do, that Mark Seymour was the engineer on the bridge when it was constructed, and, I guess stamped and designed and everything else, and there was a request that that bridge be memorialized in his name.
In the county already did
And
one,
the
right?
county doing the same thing, we're sending it to the state for.
Well, Mark served the city as engineer for almost 10, 15 years. He did a good job, and I think it's right that they named that bridge after him. I think he did work on the bridge, some design work, and so.
Good deal. I think it's definitely proper and it makes sense. So is
He's
there
a good
motion?
engineer.
You good? Wanna make a motion?
Yeah, go ahead.
All right, motion by Mr. Cox to accept,
Second.
second by Mr. Papania. Any further discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
All opposed? Motion carries. All right, discuss granting of authorization to dedicate the fire department training tower in honor of Fire Chief Patrick Pat Williams. Anybody want to take that, Keith?
Yeah. There's been, since the start of this conversation about the training tower, there's been discussion, about doing this, dedicating it in his honor. I didn't personally know him well. I did have some incidents that I was involved in together with him. I think it's very fitting to name this tower after him, because the fact that this training tower kind of embodies who he was, as far as what I remember and what others, and how they describe him. So I'm asking for your authorization to move forward tonight, so as I can plan on signage and dedication plaque and things like that.
I think it's fine, it's a great idea.
It is. I make the motion that we dedicate the fire training tower in honor of Fire Chief Patrick Pat Williams.
Okay.
All right, motion by Mr. Papania, seconded by Mr. Feldman.
Seconded by the entire board.
Second by Mr. Feldman, all in favor?
Aye.
All opposed? Motion carries.
Thank you.
Appreciate it, Chief.
Yeah.
All right, item D, discuss request from League of Women Voters of Mississippi Gulf Coast regarding an event in a city building and placing signs in the city. Megan, I believe, are they wanting to get the Civic Center, is that what I was saying?
Are they here?
I don't know, Vicky was actually the one working on this, hold on a second. Initially, they would ask for the Mary C, and then I think they changed it to the Civic Center.
Because it's a larger space.
Right, because they get spread out more.
In the past, we've held this at the Mary C. Again.
The political forum, is that correct?
Mhm.
Is it, of course you wouldn't know, I just wanted it for the alderman and the mayor.
In the past, it's been, the mayor is sort of a debate.
I'll,
And then the alderman candidates would come in and introduce themselves.
All right. Is there a,
What is the, capacity limits that they will have on those?
50%.
What number is that, do you know by
I don't.
chance?
Does anybody know what
I think the civic center holds 700 people according to the fire code.
Okay, 350. Wow.
And I think they're doing it, what's it called, Zoom?
the?
yeah, it'll be on Facebook Live and Zoom. and-
Okay.
And so if it's on Zoom, I don't know if it'd have to be at the Civic Center. If it's gonna be Zoom, it might could be the community center.
Well, I think they're just trying to fit everybody they possibly can in physically and then, you know, but streaming it for everybody else.
Yeah, they're just asking for a city venue.
Yeah. So, I mean, I think it makes sense. I mean, this is pretty standard stuff. Is there a motion to approve the request?
I'll make the motion, we approve.
All right, motion, Mr. Blackman.
Second.
Second by Mr. Cox. Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
All opposed? Motion carries. All right. And discuss holding the regular April 2021 meeting on Wednesday, April 7th, 2021, due to primary election beginning on April 6th.
So moved, Mayor.
That was written.
Well, I could just put that on there as a question.
No, it's a good idea.
Oh, I'm
because-
sorry, I didn't see my name.
Mike had caught it, but it's really
Okay.
a good idea because actually at one time they were talking about doing the absentee counting and all here at City Hall. I think now that might have gotten moved, but they were gonna need this area, so it's a really good idea.
I don't think we're going to be meeting.
It will be.
Oh,
It will-
okay.
I believe that we can do that, we just have to make sure that we put out notice since this is the regular meeting, being that it's the first meeting of the month, so that notice will have to be, published for this change.
That was my question, because I knew my statute was what is the advertising requirement?
I don't know them offhand, but I believe it's, for 3 consecutive weeks
Okay.
prior to the change.
So we got time.
Yeah,
Yeah,
so you have
but-
time.
Well, I'll go ahead, so we get on the books, make a motion to, go ahead and take the proper steps to advertise to move the April 6th regular board meeting to April 7th, 2021 due to local municipal elections.
Second.
All right, motion, Mr. Empey, second by Mr. Blackman. Any further discussion? All right, all in favor?
Aye.
All opposed? Motion carries. All right, and we've come to the consent. Anybody have any items to pull from the consent?
Make a motion to approve consent agenda.
All right, motion to approve the consent by Mr. Hoffman, second by Mr. Gill. All in favor?
Aye.
All opposed? Motion carries. Okay, department reports. Let's see. Authorize designation of City Clerk Patty Gaston as an applicant agent for Hurricane Zeta FEMA/FEMA project reimbursement and to execute the state local disaster assistance agreement.
Make that motion to do so.
All right, motion by Mr. Cox, second by Mr. Bellman. Does this need to be a roll call?
Yeah.
Thought so. All right, we'll need a roll call, Mr. Gill.
Aye.
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 All right, motion carries.
And Patty, how are those, I know you've been meeting with FEMA, is that going, how well is that going?
Yeah, I think it's gonna be fine. Mindy's actually gonna be the second this time because she's handling all the insurance, claim because it's complicated because now we've got an insurance claim, but we had a 2.5-hour meeting with them the other day and they were open to, they couldn't do anything about the beach lights because that damage is definitely tied back to Nate and Further. But the panel that we lost down at Martin and all, they were open to trying to run some of the electrical panels under Zeta and also open to considering lifting them, which was great news. Because so, If we can get that part done, if those 3 panels that's on, not at Fort Maupaw could get lifted, that would, you know, be a mitigation, I guess is what it's called. So, I think that was the main thing, wasn't it, Mindy, that would look like that we might get, that would be a pretty big surprise if we managed to pull that off.
Yeah, I think part of that, Patty and I talked about, was we did get a letter from
Yes.
NDOT
Oh,
stating that there were no Zeta funds available.
Yeah, Carolyn had
Otherwise,
secured a
right.
letter from Federal Highway, and that is what strengthened.
It was
that
actually
they
from
might be
NDOT
able
that
to-
they spoke to Federal Highway. So.
But I mean, if they help with those panels, that'd be
That'd be
tremendous.
great.
That's the bulk of it.
Especially if they
Those
raise
funds.
it, if we can raise it.
Good deal. All right, and to the docket of claims, anybody have anything for the docket of claims?
I'll make a motion to approve the docket of claims, Mr. Mayor.
All right, that's from Mr. Impey, seconded by Mr. Gill. All in favor?
Aye.
All opposed? Motion carries. Okay, and we've reached general public comment. I have a few people who have signed up ahead of time. We've allotted 30 minutes for this, and you get a maximum of 3 minutes to address the board. First up, I have Mr. Rivera.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Gentlemen, ladies, my name is John Rivera, Ward 5, and I am the Secretary of the Ocean Springs Republican Municipal Election Committee. And I have with me Mr. Paul Gergen, who's our treasurer. We want to compliment your city staff who have been working with us very closely concerning the certification of all the candidates for the Republican primary. The ladies have been exceedingly helpful, and we couldn't have done our job without them. And especially in the past few recent days, working with the advice and opinion of the city attorney. We really appreciate such fine cooperation. As the Republican committee, we took a deep dive into everything that is legislatively correct for us to do according to the election law. We did a deeper dive into the county clerk's voting records from the state's SIM system. And we were able to go all the way back to 2003 to see some of the candidates. It caused us a great deal of pause to see the disparity of running in a Republican primary and you're not voting Republican. Or a majority of your votes aren't Republican. By law, we found out from a state attorney general opinion, we can only look at certain qualifications, whether they're a registered voter, whether they've been in their ward or in the city, municipality for 2 years or more, and also their criminal record, based upon an investigation done by our fine police department. We did that. We were much chagrined to find out we can't tell a person that because we've seen their social media, because we know comments they have made, because they have made statements, Facebook, Twitter, you name the social media, they're not Republican. They're libertarian, they're Democrat, they don't believe in the party platform for the state. Some of them don't even know the party platform. I've talked to a couple of them in that case. And yet they're running in party primary. Why am I here telling you this? Because we're going to be coming back to you all and get your support to get the Attorney General, Mike Moore's opinion, changed. Mike Moore, when he did this in 2003, used California and its jungle primary as a prime example, and that was his stated desire to do in every single municipal, county, state election in this state. And pretty damn well he succeeded. Excuse me, I didn't mean to say that.
All right, Mr. Rivera, your time is up.
Got one more statement?
One more.
If we're not successful in this state will wind up, as I said, with a jungle primary, where socialists, libertarians, and Democrats can run in the primary, as they're doing right now, with the associated drama, victimology, and you owe me agenda. We look for your support. Thank you.
Thank you, John.
All right. And next up, Mr. Paul Gergen.
Nothing more to add to what John said.
Okay.
Thank you.
All right, and then I have Summer DeVoe. Come on in.
Your Honor, Mr. Mayor, distinguished and honorable aldermen, ladies and gentlemen, my name is Summer Devereaux. I work in the beautification department at Public Works, and I am running for mayor of Ocean Springs. As a citizen, I am choosing to fulfill my civic responsibility and exercise my constitutional rights to run for mayor. Due to governmental restrictions and bureaucracy, I am pressured to resign from the only job I have. I am a single, divorced mother who must resign from my post at Public Works in order to continue to run for mayor of Ocean Springs, Mississippi. After legal counsel, it is my own volition to resign to avoid being terminated. I'm an upstanding employee and I have good relationship with almost everyone in the city. The hardship that this is going to cause me and my daughter comes at a great cost, but the cost of backing down would be profoundly greater. I do this for the people of Ocean Springs and for the integrity of my family. I thank you for allowing me to be employed by the city. It has been an honor to serve you, and I look forward to serve you for many more years.
Thank you, Summer.
Thank you, Summer. Wish you all the best. All right, next up we have, that's all we have who have checked for public comments. So we do have some time left. If there's anybody who would like to address the board for up to 3 minutes, you may come to the podium now. Alrighty. So we'll go to Alderman's Forum. Mr. Gill.
Yeah, Mayor, one thing, we got a fishing bridge in Ocean Springs right alongside the existing, bridge, the regular Ocean Spring Bridge. Yeah, it's part of the old bridge, and, in the summer, I know that I think it's the JC's or the Elks Club put on a youth fishing rodeo. And, I've seen, kids go out there, get all excited, and then, come back and not even want to fish.
Mm-hmm.
So, there's no excuse for that. It's been going on that way for years. I'd like to, and I don't know if Carolyn will get involved in this, or it would be the county. I know it's a county bridge, it's a fishing bridge, and it's their water, so, I don't know, I know DMR plants, reefs, fishing reefs, all out in the Gulf and all, Back Bay and all over. And I just wonder if we could contact DMR or maybe Carol, maybe there's some kind of a grant, because I don't want to bog it down with a lot of paperwork and a grant that 2 years from now, DMR has got money to do stuff like that.
I mean, just because it's a county bridge doesn't mean that we couldn't do some sort of project like that. I would assume that we'd want to do it in coordination with them. But yeah, I can check with,
That may go for Go Mesa.
it might be for Go Mesa. We passed the Thailand cycle, so I'd have to see, they might have some other funds that we don't typically, request, because it's, fishing, when I assume you're talking kind of like an oyster reef or something underneath that encourages fish spawning and that
They use
activity.
crushed limestone now.
Right, so, there may be some other, environmental or ecological project rather than just what we typically apply for. I'll research it,
Yeah. And not only, that little fishing pier, but in front of the Chesapeake Pearson Pier.
mhm.
And then the county's got a pier too, right inside the harbor.
I can, that's definitely outside of my, project-wise,
Yeah.
I don't know, but yeah, I'll find out exactly what we could do, but I'll reach out to DMR and look at their funding sources and see what we
Talk
could.
to the county, I mean, that
Yeah.
would be, I guess, it'd be Troy Ross.
We could definitely do it as a joint project, no matter,
Yeah.
who gets it.
John, have you asked, General Spraggins anything about it?
No, I haven't, no. I just thought I'd bring it up and let Calvin go through the channels.
Yeah, I'll reach out just on the staff level to see what's available currently. And you're right, it could be a Restore Act or a Go Mesa application because it relates more to environment restoration than any sort of city infrastructure, so, and that's typically the projects that they like.
Yeah, I know out in
Yeah.
Gulf, I mean, they're always building them out there.
Yeah.
I think there's 500 or 600 now out in the Gulf.
So you're talking primarily for the purpose of attracting more fish, you know?
Right.
sea-
Well, I understand the reason they can't, put an instruction and back make
Right.
people hit it. It's gotta be a flat.
Gotta be something that's out of the pathways.
I think me and Carolyn can tackle it, though.
Yeah.
From our.
Yeah, can you give us, look at it and give us an update next meeting,
Yeah,
Cal?
sure will.
Mr. Gill, part of Wildlife District has something similar to that. We did in North Mississippi, but I'll be glad to reach out and help Ms. Carolyn.
All right, that'd be great, thank you,
Yes.
Steve. That's all I have, man.
Population.
Carolyn and Darryl, I got a question for you guys. So Gulf Hills, not Gulf Hills, Gulf Oaks fence got knocked down for a storm, and they want to put the same exact fence up that was existing. Why do they need to go back why do they need to go through all the hoops of going in front of historical and delaying that for 2 months to get that done?
The first, I haven't really heard of it. I mean, it's not something that was reported to me yet. If it's the same exact, if they are making any changes to it, it does have to go back through HPC.
No, it's the same.
If it's going to look exactly the same, then it's repairs with like materials. So we monitor it, make sure it's done exactly the same, but, so I'm not sure why, if that was the conversation, I haven't.
Well, always will ask, it's a $40,000 project.
Mm-hmm.
Construction is really tough right now.
Mhm.
To get people to have somebody that's committed that can start the job now. And so, you know, with material costs going up, the way it's going up, I would ask that we take the application, go ahead and, okay it based on that it's gonna be identical to what they had and it's gonna be brick. And then it could be monitored by the building department and move forward so they can get started.
Yeah, I'll look at it and make sure there's no, like I said, I haven't received an update on that, so I'll go back and check with staff to see if, you know, what determinations were made and why. And as long as it's something that we can allow, as long, like I said, I'm putting it simply, but essentially we tell people if it's using the same material, so you lose a shingle, you put up the same kind of shingles, we just monitor it. If there's any change in it, we have to assess if it's a major or minor change and whether or not it triggers going through HPC. So if it's gonna look exactly the same, that's one thing, but if they are making changes to it so it doesn't look exactly the same.
It's identical. They had discussed in some board meetings about changing it, you know, and then they decided, I guess,
And that may be what.
that it's always been that way, so I think they wanted to
Okay,
keep it.
I'll check into that in the morning and confirm and we'll follow up.
Okay, thanks. That's all I have.
Call for-
Stephen, I just have one thing. Is there any way we can get those lights at Freedom Field on the better schedule? I mean,
Yeah.
it was raining on the way here in the
I
stands.
saw them way in, I can take care of it.
They seem to be running
Yeah.
more when it's raining than any other time.
I can take care of them all.
I don't know what we need to do, but it's happening pretty often.
Yes, sir, no problem.
That's all I got there.
All right. Mr. King, if I may take the opportunity, I see one of our engineers here, Mr. Jason. Could you give us a thumbnail sketch of where we stand on the monster ditch improvement, just real briefly?
I think we've got a list here, but we've got the design pretty well done. Let me look at my list here, but, we are about 90% done with the preliminary design, and we're at 90% on those preliminary specifications, and then working on, permitting.
When do you feel like we'll up the contract?
I don't know if I can give you a good answer right this minute. Let me find out and I'll send it out to you tomorrow.
Okay, if you would, please. All right, thank you. Very general terms, I talked to the county, and our paving list, they should be moving to Ocean Springs in March. And so that's good news for all of us that have streets that we want paved. They're working in Moss Point right now, and they will be, as explained to me, they'll be here in March, so that's pretty good news. About a month ago, we agreed to make a four-way stop at La Branch and Saiwan. It's a two-way stop now. And a citizen approached, which we all agreed, and we passed it. A citizen approached me about installing metal decorative post at that intersection instead of the typical, lack of better words, our steel U galvanized posts that we drive in the ground. I have ward funds, and I have asked Candace, and I have gotten the price out. The price is a little over $500, about $550. And so I would, with y'all's agreement, I want to purchase 3 of them. Go ahead and ask Candace to go ahead and order 3 of them, up to $1,650.
Okay.
I second the motion.
Is this to match existing, or?
There's one that's already there, and it should, yes, best we can. It's not gonna be identical, but it's very, very, very similar. I don't know where the old one came from. That's all I have.
Is there a motion?
Yeah, I make, John, I think.
John,
second. Yeah.
All right, all in favor?
Aye.
All opposed? Motion carries.
Madam, if you'll tell Candace to start the process.
I'll give it to her in the morning.
Thank you. That's all.
Mr. Blackman?
Alan, a couple things. The hill there just south of the Stillwater Bluff entrance, we can get that cut when we get time now. That'll carry us through a little ways because it's still overgrown. Mailboxes, you got an update on the 3 mailbox issues, 2 on government and 1 in vehicle?
I was gonna try to start them this week, but then with the freeze and the rain and everything else, he said he's gonna try to get out there next week and get them stuck up.
I'm really concerned about that 1 in vehicle that's leaning underneath that pipe. We need to get that pipe fixed. So let me know when that's gonna start and let that gentleman know. Chief, the fire burn ordinance that we looked at a while back, just don't need an update tonight, but just keep me where we are on that so we can take a look at that as a board and see what your suggestions are. If you can shoot that out at some point, get with Nicole, put that together, and get that something done on that. Stephen, dog
Yeah,
park.
dog park.
Did you check on that today?
I haven't, I had a meeting and I'll be back later, but I'll have it taken care of first thing in the morning. I'll run out there tonight and check on it.
Okay, I'm not sure it was a leak, but I thought water running down the hill, looked maybe like there was a leak at the water station in the Lawrence Dog Park. So just check that out. I'm gonna leave Carol alone tonight. Daryl, I know you didn't have time to research the Eagle Point question today, but
Go out there in the morning.
yeah, just let me know what's going on and what your intentions are.
I got nudged up to my chair. That's all.
Right. That's all I got.
All right, Mr. Empey?
Don't get too comfortable, Carol, you're not free yet.
And I'll give you the same answer that I gave you last week.
About 60 to 90 days out on the drainage project.
You know, it's the course. So we have I think we have 1 more on Parktown, and we don't anticipate, verbal conversations indicate that we should receive our permit soon, but as of today, we have not. So as soon as it does, we'll be able to wrap it up, and I estimate that we should be able to advertise by like end of next month, hopefully. But I'd say, so it's 30 to 60 days instead of 60 to 90.
Standard
Well,
answer. 60 days.
Yeah, what
And it's
do
all,
you do?
it's the core, we're at their mercy.
Yeah, it's sad, I mean, it's the mercy of the Corps of Engineers.
And there's still a possibility, there's one element of the Parktown project that may not get permitted right away, but we're gonna, move forward with finalizing the design, and then if we haven't received the permit, include it as an ad alternate so we can continue on.
This is the MDOT funding, isn't it?
No.
No, this is the last.
No, it's not the funding this time, it's the
You're here
permitting.
30 to 60 days.
No, this is
Well, that's what they tell me, I am the messenger.
Katrina Community Development Block Grant for that drainage project in Ward 6.
Last
But
of the Katrina number.
it's typical for the Corps of Engineers, my grandfather used to say, we got $1 waiting on a dime, they get to get off those permits. That's all I've got, thank you, Jim.
You're welcome.
All right, unless we have anything for executive session, we can go ahead and adjourn.
There's a motion to adjourn, Mr. Mayor.
Second to adjourn, Mr. Empey, second by Mr. Blackman, all in favor?
Aye.
All opposed? We are now adjourned.
What's up, Ron?
I'll write it over later about what we got.